Disney.
No. Oh,
Disney.
we didn't even have that as a headline topic, right? We got to jump right into that. This is crazy.
This is nuts.
Okay, a 42-year-old woman died after an allergic reaction eating at a restaurant at Disney World Resort's Disney Springs in October 2023. She was highly allergic to dairy and nuts. The restaurant was chosen because they advertise the accommodation of persons with food allergies as a top priority. Okay, a lawsuit was then filed in February of 2024 by her husband for damages of more than $50,000. This was a wrongful death suit. Now, okay, that kind of makes sense because if you say, hey, like, I'm allergic to this, and they're like, hey, no problem, we got you. There is some fine print. I think many menus will actually have a disclaimer where even if the server says, hey, like, yeah, sure, there's no nuts in that.
There's always the chance of these things at this
chance of cross-contamination. However, from the article that I read on this seemed to suggest, so take this for what it is, seemed to suggest that there was a substantial amount of what she was allergic to in the dish.
Got it.
Okay. So this is where things go completely off the rails and is what pushed this to the top of our subreddit earlier this week. Disney filed a motion in May alleging that the husband, okay, so not the woman who died, the husband accepted a forced arbitration agreement when signing up for Disney Plus in 2019. They also seem to be under the impression that they agreed to an arbitration clause when purchasing tickets to Disney World. The husband's legal team argues that the Disney terms were made effectively invisible. Disney put the link to its terms of use within another link on the agreement page when you sign up for Disney Plus, and neither of these agreements were necessary. They were never forced to read them to eat at the restaurant because, get this, you don't need to buy tickets in order to access Disney Springs. This is wild.
Oh yeah.
This reminds me of who was it?
Dystopian as hell.
Who was it? Hold on. I'm gonna look it up.
The soft drink hitman thing?
Yep. I'm gonna look it up.
I think it was Coke.
Yeah. The Coke death squads. Okay, where their defense for this was not we didn't contract kill people. That was not the defense. The defense was, here in the US, you cannot pursue us for this because it happened outside of your jurisdiction.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought the whole EULA thing was kind of settled, where they're not
super enforceable.
Where they're in this gray area where, like, as long as everything makes sense within all of the other laws that exist for all the good reasons that they exist, then yeah, you are effectively agreeing not to use the, I don't know, team viewer for terrorism or, whatever else the case may be, right? Like there are certain things within an end user license agreement that do make sense because they're for the protection of intellectual property holders, for the protection of the general public. They're for the greater good.
And they're things that you would kind of expect.
However, for me to agree not just to a forced arbitration clause over some issue that I had with the Disney Plus service, because that I could see. If somebody were to, say, for example, watch some show on Disney Plus and they were to get inspired to shoot John Lennon, who knows, right? If Yoko Ono, okay, we're getting a little off the rails here, but if Yoko Ono comes after Disney and goes, okay, you're liable for the shooting of my husband, I can't. Well, wait, because did she sign up for Disney Plus? The point is, if you are a user of the service and the issue that you have with the service is related to the service, then okay, no problem. But if, I'm trying to come up with a parallel here Because this is mind-blowing. Okay, let's take our company.
What if it's like...
Let's take our company. Okay? Let's say, for example, that you sign up for Floatplane. Okay, so that's our video streaming service where you can get early access to some of our videos, including Scrapyard Wars. You can also get extras for some of our videos, including Scrapyard Wars. I'm not saying you should sign up for Floatplane. I'm just saying it's got good stuff. But let's say as part of our agreement, we've got there's a forced arbitration clause because if for whatever reason there's a billing error. Okay. And sure. You say, it put undue mental strain on me that I was double billed that 1 month because of an administrative error, and I'm seeking $50,000 in pain and suffering damages or whatever else. We basically are going like, look, our entire agreement with you, is over like tens of dollars. This is going to go to arbitration. You waive your ability to like file but basically a nonsense lawsuit. Like, I can understand that protection being in place. I actually don't know that we have a forced arbitration clause. Do we? Do you even know?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, anyway,
I haven't read the terms of Floatplane in many years.
The point is, let's say you sign up for Floatplane, okay? So, and let's say we have this clause for, maybe some kind of reasonable reason. But then you go to LTX, you go to a whale land, okay? And we have a gigantic Elijah head that is suspended from the ceiling, okay? Because we think that's funny as fuck for some reason. I mean, it would be, right?
It would be.
If we did like a giant Elijah head.
It would be pretty funny. Oh man, what if you had a whack-a-mole game and it was Elijah wearing helmets?
Thank you, but it's very off topic.
Yeah, I like it though.
Okay. So we have an Elijah whack-a-mole game, okay?
And you like hit yourself in the face with the mallet or something.
Well, no, because that's on you. You get stuck in the machine. You get a staff, an LTT staff, tells you to go inside the machine, and you get Elijah whacked to death. You get whacked.
Okay,
that's pretty whack. Yeah. To imagine
we're so far off the rails.
Like if you never signed a liability release to ride the Elijah whacker. Wait. Okay. This is starting to get a little weird. The point is that if you never signed a release,
what if we just do a direct thing? You ate food there, whatever.
It doesn't matter. The point is, if you never signed a specific release for that, if you never consented to anything to do, what does your agreement? Even though it's the same organization,
it shouldn't.
Actually, it isn't, because Floatplane's not even the same entity.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. The point is, this is insane.
Yes,
this is completely insane.
Yeah,
and. Honestly, I think you and I have had this conversation where, like, I remember talking to you about this, and I was just like, yeah, you know what the legal system needs? It needs like a common sense filter.
We've actually had
where there's like an intervention layer that basically looks at something and goes, hey, proactively,
BS detector.
You know what? Maybe the law doesn't account for this, but we need to get some legislation fast-tracked to deal with this because this obviously makes no sense. Like, this is such a bad faith argument that I don't know how Disney's lawyers can sleep at night.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've had conversation when we were doing the legal agreements for Floatplane and a couple other things that we have. We did have conversations because the external contractor legal team that we had handed us like the most legalese thing on the planet. And I remember this was many years ago, but I remember you and I looking at it and being like, this just sucks. Because it's like impossible to tell what they're trying to say. So we had to get them to do multiple rounds of like, simple this down, make it easier to understand. And even then, just to be completely honest, ours isn't the best I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I've seen some that are like very easy to understand, really, really well laid out. But you have to work with lawyers to get it there. And they don't want to do that. They want it to be difficult to understand because then it stands up legally like more, which is annoying. I hate that.
So there's a few things here. So Alt Okers in Floatplane chat says that's what judges are supposed to do, but that's not actually true. Judges are in charge of sentencing and they can interpret the law, but they don't get to look at the letter of the law and go, I don't like that law. It doesn't make any sense. If there is a basis If there's an argument that has a strong basis in law, they can't ignore it, right? Like that's not the judge's role. It's legislators who create laws. Judges just interpret them.
I don't know
And
anything about that process.
MR Vaney says, term says it covers any disputes with the Walt Disney Company. And that may be true. But
that's
what I'm saying
ridiculous.
is that's crazy.
Yeah.
There is another point here, and this is a really good one from Papodaka that says Disney doesn't run that restaurant either. Okay, so I don't actually know if that's true, but it's a really interesting point because here's my problem with that. When you license your name, you are collecting money. You are collecting revenue for granting the trust that is associated with your name.
Yep.
Because otherwise, the name being on the restaurant wouldn't have any value. I'm eating at it because I trust Boston Pizza or Subway or whatever.
Here's a question on that topic. You just mentioned Subway.
Yeah.
Subway's a franchise system,
Yeah.
right? So if you eat at Subway and you get some, I don't know, crazy food poisoning thing or something that you could sue for, let's just imagine there's something you could sue
Sure.
for. Do you sue the franchise owner of that building or do you sue Subway?
So what I don't know the specific answer for Subway. What I suspect is that there are various agreements
Shotgun approach,
depending on who you are franchising from and depending what exactly the agreement is there. It also probably depends on exactly what happened. If you followed process that was handed down to you by the, I don't want to call it a parent company. They're not a parent company, by the brand owner company, and something went wrong anyway, then I think that's kind of between you and them. But it might end up being a chain of lawsuits, or because Subway is a bigger, better known target with more money, I could see how if someone did encounter, get poisoned at that restaurant,
Sure.
say, for example, I could see why they would go after the bigger, more obvious target without necessarily even considering that they're also probably the better protected one from a legal standpoint, because they probably deal with this kind of thing all the time. But my point is that you can't have it both ways. You can't hide behind, we weren't even running the restaurant, but then also benefit from your name being put on. You have to take some responsibility for it. I mean, I remember having this conversation with a YouTuber who famously got into the fast food business a couple of years ago, where I basically said, I don't know, good for you, but we've never done anything that you can ingest. And the reason for that is that I'm deeply I tend to be pretty conservative when it comes to business risk and liability, and I am deeply concerned that compared to almost anything else we do, like a shirt,
a backpack,
or even water bottles. Actually, we talked about them a lot before we moved forward with them. Yeah, a backpack. What's the worst that can go wrong, right? Compared to anything we do, something that someone ingests has, the maximum ceiling for what can go wrong. It could kill them. And even if I'm not liable, even if I'm not found culpable for it, because it's like a ghost kitchen or whatever, do I want to think about that? No, I don't.
There's a lot of decisions we've made, actually, including the Flowplane VPN thing, where it's like, we just don't really want to think about this problem at a certain point. Like we can do it. We could have made some type of food product for sure.
Sure. There's
Do we
even
want to?
Dude, there's food products that I'd be pretty interested in making.
Yeah.
Like, I think you know how much I love breakfast cereal.
I've recommended you make cereal multiple times.
I know. But like,
there's a lot of risk with it.
Dude, am I going to be on the factory floor?
Yeah, exactly.
Am I going to know if there's toenail clippings in it?
The factory floor probably won't even be in this country.
Yeah, I mean, realistically,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, actually, I don't know. Like grain products.
There's a lot of grain here.
No, I think where does where does like General Mills make cereal? Where is General Mills based out of? Headquarters in Minneapolis.
All right, yeah, they make Cheerios in North America.
Okay. Yeah, there you go.
Maybe it's a thing.
Yeah, maybe that's a thing. Because like I can't imagine shipping like basically air and wheat.
Yeah, I just automatically
overseas.
assumed it's a product that's made somewhere else.
Yeah, no, we have a lot of wheat production.
But
though.
yeah, we do.
So
Yeah,
that kind of makes sense. Anyway, in summary, I don't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, it's bad.
All right.
Unsubscribe.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
You've already signed it.
Yeah. After you unsubscribe, I don't think that helps.
I mean, I still would anyways.
Sure.
But I mean,
Yeah.
you do whatever you want.
Yeah. Them. I mean, do you really need to watch Mulan that badly?
Probably not. There's this whole thing going on with Disney right now where they're losing the war for kids' attention. Like the main viewers of Disney right now are millennials, not kids.
Really?
And like if you look
Interesting. Is that why Inside Out 2 killed it?
Maybe.
Hold on, think about it. Riley in the film is what, 13?
I'm not sure.
I think she's 13 because she's going into high school. Oh. She's either 12 or 13.
Really?
Hey, we're getting there.
Okay.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
We're getting there. So if I am at the leading edge of millennials, I'm in my early 40s right now. If I had kids at 28, which was a more normal age back then, because now people are just not at all, and if they do at all, it's like well into their 30s. But if I had kids at 28, all of a sudden my kids are around Riley's age.
Yeah.
Dude, is this just a bunch of millennials taking their young families to see it?
Probably.
Am
Apparently
I a textbook case, Luke?
I think so.
Did they case study me because I took my kids to see Inside Out 2?
You're probably part of it. They've apparently even been making certain changes to the parks to cater to millennials more, because millennials without kids are currently the main demographic of people going to Disney parks and actually spending considerable money while they're there, because it's childless millennials that like can afford it. Because if you have kids and you're a millennial, you probably can't afford anything. So it's really interesting, and like they're losing a lot of viewership to YouTube effectively.
Yeah.
I don't remember what her name is, but there's some lady that does something on YouTube that is getting like incredible amounts of views for like kid content.
Sure. Someone probably.
Who knows? I don't know. But like they're Miss Rachel. Yeah, someone in chat immediately knew what I was talking about. But yeah, Miss Rachel is her name. And there's a bunch of other kids content that's just like exploding, Cocomelon, stuff like that. Disney is not super in the picture right now when it comes to kids content.
One day ago?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me right now?
Yeah, this chick owns kids YouTube content. Owns it.
147 million views in 4 months. What even is happening right now?
Yeah.
She's closing in on 1 billion views on this.
I find this interesting. In like thumbnail logic stuff, right? She advertises the time of the video as an element of her thumbnail. So like, I want my kid to leave me alone for an hour.
For 35 minutes.
Yeah.
That is
50 minutes.
Hilarious.
60 minutes, 85 minutes, 1 hour.
Wow.
And it's super safe.
Dude, she collabed with Sesame Street yesterday? Are you kidding me? You know what? Slay, queen.
She's killing it. Absolutely, yeah.
All right.
Like,
I don't know anything about her. For all I know, she eats babies. And that's why she makes videos for them. But
sure.
I don't know her. I'm not saying she does do that. I'm just saying I don't know her.
All I know is that she's actually mind-bogglingly successful.
But she seems pretty...
she's beating Disney.
Seems pretty wholesome on the surface. So, slay.
She's a teacher, apparently.
Yeah, not anymore. I mean, still, but I just mean not like, out of school anymore. Unless she like also still is.
She might.
Yeah.
Just because like she might just.
That's crazy. I gotta tell you, I can't tell the difference between like the kids content that works and the kids content that doesn't work. But I'm sure she's doing great. Anyway, point is,
as far as my understanding goes, a oddly high percentage of Miss Rachel's success has been word of mouth. Oh. Because all the parents are telling each other, like, my kid really likes this one. Also, I've like watched some of it. It seems really safe. I've overheard conversations of parents telling other parents about Miss Rachel.
And then what, is she just like less annoying than Blippi? So
maybe, yeah.
Win?
I don't know. I don't know anything about Blippi, but someone in Flowplane Chat, I have no idea if this is true. Someone in Flowplane Chat said the studio that owns Blippi was sold for $3 billion.
Wow. It's freaking wild, dude.
Okay.
Oh. Sick.
Yeah.
Whoops. Harlem Shake plus Blippy. Luke, watch later. I don't think we need to.
It's a piece of cake to bake a pretty cake.
Yeah, man. It's crazy because, like...
Sorry. There's a mashup that's basically the best.
Hold on a second. Did Disney buy Blippy? And was part of a $3 billion acquisition by Disney.
Oh, Disney bought it. Because they're trying to fight for kids. They're trying to get the kid viewership.
Crazy. Oh, man.
Wait, what? They made $17 million and sold for $3 billion?
Oh, man. I don't know,
what?
dude. But it's part of a $3 billion acquisition by Disney.
Okay,
Who knows?
Okay. Fair enough.
All right. Anyway, yeah, man. I remember back in the day, like looking at some, like, have you seen any of the weird, like, Russian channels? Mm-hmm. Like one of the biggest channels in the world is, like, as far as I can tell, just these Russian kids that are being exploited for views on YouTube. Like, it's
probably accurate.
Freaking wild.
And I'm
dude.
not saying that because they're Russian. I'm saying that because, like, there's a lot of kids that are exploited for views on YouTube. It's just a thing.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I remember looking at stuff like that as I was sort of like going through like top channels by country, and like I just see these just explosive view counts. I'm sitting here going, dude, we do so much work to reach like 1 million people because just frankly, not that many people care about how many platters are in a hard drive or like whatever the shit it is we're talking about. Like,
yeah.
And I could sing songs. I taught swim lessons.
Teaching swim, I think that's almost like...
There's a fishy in the middle and he can't get out. No, he can't get out. No, he can't get out.
Don't eat the thermal paste.
Dude, I can even sing on tune. Let's go.
Subscribed, dude. I would watch it. You would get an amount of people that would subscribe and watch.
Dude, and like so many of these songs are just like what's the term? Public domain and stuff. Like,
oh yeah, totally. A lot of kids' songs are.
Dude, whatever. I could make up songs about Sherlock Holmes, who's also public domain. Okay, probably not for kids. See, this is why I can't handle it. I think I'd get bored.
Moriarty like and the Nook.
Sherlock Holmes in the case of the stolen binky or something.
Oh my goodness!
It was in the power supply.
Mom opened it, and then unfortunately, Mom isn't around anymore. The stories of hard times. Explaining difficult things.
God,
to
I would
children.
not tune into your children's channel.
Good, that's fine.